Together we are but first coffee. Susie's just our host, but what matters most is we are a team. Together we are all safe here, and so are you. Among friends and mods we are safe. We talk about trauma, break down drama of life, death, happy or sad, even mad. We discuss it all here. Together we will thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Together we fight cults or fight addictions. If not with experience, with love, and we don't judge. Please understand, this is a safe place to land. Please understand, you're not alone. This is a safe place to land. Together we thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Because we are but first coffee, and Susie welcomes us all here. Together we are but first coffee, and Susie.
Hey, everybody. It is good to see you all. I see several people coming in. I appreciate that. I really do. I always appreciate when you're here, but I always appreciate when you come in on the replay too, because, everybody can't be there on the lives, right? I certainly can't. Well, my lives, yeah, but not everybody's. It kind of came out weird, didn't it? Anyway, I'm just glad you're here. This is kind of a hard subject, but I really want to do this because I think that I don't know. I want to try to do it in a way that we talk about it and it is a serious subject, but that is not blaming or I don't know. I just want to try to handle it as well as I can. So I told my mods today that this one is going to be more like Susie, newspaper Susie, from back whenever I had the paper. It feels like I'm kind of reporting on something, and this is kind of going to be kinda how my reporting style would have been, except for whenever I was reporting in the paper, I always had to be so careful not to express any opinions, good or bad or, anything. So, on here, I get to at least have an opinion on something, but I try not to let my opinion change how I would report something, if that makes any sense. So I am so glad to see everybody coming in. I'm going to check with the chat and then we're going to go ahead and get started. This is a lot of information. I do have some slides to show you guys. So let's see here. Anna from Canada is a new member. So glad to have her as a new member. Thank you so much. I don't know why I can't get it to. It is not. John can take it off the screen. I can't do it. I'm telling you, no. I'm not good at this. So anyway, Jersey Jan is here. Thank you so much, Jan. I'm always glad to see you. Heat My Shorts is here, sending strength and love. Thank you. Yeah, love, support, whatever. I know he loves me, so I just added that in through a tough subject. Yes, yes, it is. But I think we're going to get through it. Oracle One, positive thoughts from Australia, watching in horror, what's happening over there. Yeah, absolutely. So good Lord, I can't get anything to work tonight. Incarnasol, it is so good to see you always. So glad. And I saw that John was here and Marilee is here. Live to Laugh. I still think that is one of the best names. I think I probably say that every time I see your name, but I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Um, Lord Kiss Freak is here. You must have some time off because you've been here a couple of times. Yeah, you're 2 for 2, right? That's what I was just saying. So let's see here. Down here, Never in Aaron. You've been here a lot lately too, and I very much appreciate it. I really do, you guys. B is here. Good day, all. Yeah. Let me see. Don't want to. Indigo is here. Aw, thank you. Hello, lovely Indigo. I'm actually gonna get a hold of you. I have a favor. It's called I need a guest. I'm actually needing about 4. So if there are 4 people, they could be mods, they can not, they don't have to be whatever it is. I need about 4 people that wanna come on next week for just a silly thing. It's not really a game, but we're just gonna talk about, like, stuff from the past and see what you remember, that kind of a thing. So, yeah, let me know. My email address is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. I may have to take this headband before it's over with. Take it off. The head is hurting. Just watch Grumpy Old Men. Walter says, "Eat my shorts." That's what I always say. I always think it says I absolutely know he's one of my mods. I know, but I always, even though I know it says "heat my shorts," I always see "eat my shorts." So good, good, good to see you guys. Your game? All right. I'll get with you and let you know what day. So I'm gonna take this headband off, y'all. I can't handle a headache on top of everything else. I was trying to control my hair a little bit, but so respect the cat. Good evening. Good evening to you. Glad to see you. Okay, guys. It looks like that I got everybody. I think. I hope so. If I missed you, I am really sorry. And John is in the back office, I believe. He'll be starring comments so that I can, get comments. Please, at any time, feel free to comment on stuff. I might not see it till the end because I get so focused on what I'm doing that sometimes I forget to look over at the chat, and sometimes I purposely don't if I think there might be trolls. So, yeah. Anyway, but I promise I will try to get to your comments, and John is great. He and Jan both are really good at starring comments. So, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Um, Hello to everybody. Welcome to But First Coffee. If you are new here, we talk about all kinds of stuff. So, if you don't like what we're talking about tonight, come back because tomorrow will be about something else. So, anyway, we have one rule only, and that is don't be a pee stick. That's our nice way of, saying don't be a what that keeps us from getting demonetized too early with YouTube. So, anyway, that's all the business, I think. So, I want y'all to like grab you a drink or whatever, coffee, tea, soda, whatever, and pull up a chair and sit with me for a little bit with this. If you can't, then I understand if you got to still work or you're cooking dinner or whatever. But if you're just not doing anything, let's just sit and really talk about this for a little bit. Tonight's conversation, though I absolutely know that there is a political side to it, I'm not going to try to go blue or red or blue or any of those combinations. But when I talk this is how I'm gonna kind of explain it. When I talk about Scientology, okay, I say that I am not anti-Scientologist. I am against the cult, not the members. And I know if not for the members, the cult wouldn't exist. What I'm talking about is I I don't think that the average member is wanting the cult to do the things that it does or knows or believes that the cult is doing the things that it is. And so tonight, when I say that I'm anti-ICE, which is kinda not really true, what I'm against is what's going on now. And I know that it is viewed strongly, at least right now, as a Republican or a Trump situation, and it is, because that's who's in power. When it was Obama, people were mad at Obama. Look back at, old newsreels or old, you know, articles and stuff on the internet. It's easy. It's whoever's in power is the bad guy at the moment. Now, I make no qualms about the fact that I'm a Democrat. I don't like Trump and all that. But this is deeper than that. And I really want to lay that part of it aside and just talk about what's going on with ICE. Okay? Uh, As if nobody is pulling the strings. I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about what's going on. Actually, I want to talk about the people that it's happening to. That's what I really want to talk about. So, I say all that honestly to just be transparent. I mean, I make no secret of my political leanings, and if you're on my if you see me on Facebook, you sure know I don't. But this is about humanity. This is about human beings. It's about families. It's about citizens. It's about non-citizens. It's about people. And I don't want it to just be a red versus blue situation. This needs to be an American situation where we forget our politics and remember our humanity. So, what I want to talk about a little bit is a question that honestly keeps me up at night. I think about it so much. And I put it on the thumbnail. I named the live that, and it says, does the punishment fit the crime? And what I keep thinking is, I think, does the punishment fit the crime? But if it doesn't, then why are we tolerating it? I wouldn't tolerate it regardless of who the president was. I would be dead set against what is happening right now, no matter who was sitting in that Oval Office. And that's where I want to get to tonight. I want us to talk about what's happening, what we agree with, what we don't agree with, and forget about who's the president for just a little while. On this channel, we talk about mental health and recovery and harm and dignity. And so tonight, I'm asking, are we okay with what we're seeing? Are we? And if not, I want us to ask ourselves, where does it end? I kind of gave myself some ground rules a little bit. And I want to tell you those because I kind of want to hold us all to these ground rules. They're not really ground rules, but I couldn't think of another way to phrase it. But we aren't arguing about if immigration laws exist or need to exist. They do exist. And I believe that on some level they do need to exist. You might not believe that way. I'm just me. We aren't arguing over if borders matter. They do matter. They absolutely do. That's I mean, honestly, that's why there's borders, is they do matter. We aren't we aren't arguing about ignoring crime that someone that is here undocumented, illegal, whatever you wanna call it. We're not talking about ignoring crimes that happens with that people. But did you know that it is like 1%, 1.3 or 1.4 something percent of the crime is done by undocumented people? So I have a hard time really thinking that I think that that's what we all think the problem is, but I'm not really convinced that that's what the people in the positions of power really think it's about. What I think this is about is proportional force, due process, human dignity, of course. And I think what really gets me is innocent people being harmed. And we're seeing that every single day. In fact, we're seeing worse than harmed. I can't handle kids being hurt. I can't understand actual oh, my nose. It'll get better in a minute, I promise. I think I'm allergic to my you to you all. No, I think I'm allergic to something at my desk, like my laptop, because it's at everywhere I go. But I'm really I can't handle citizens being violated and even non-citizens. I just don't like human beings being violated. And as I was doing this, I was thinking, we can believe in laws and believe in humanity at the very same time. It is absolutely possible. We can believe in two things. Two things can be true at once. And it's not how it is right now. I'm hurt by what I'm seeing in our country. I'm ugh, I'm disillusioned. I'm angry. And whenever I sat down and really thought about it, I thought, if I'm feeling these, no, now you go lay down. My grand dog is in here and she's filthy. Go lay down. Missy, go on. Go outside. Go to mommy. Thank you. No, that's not mommy. That's the kitchen. Sorry. Go outside. Missy, outside. Outside. Yes. She was like, no, I don't think she's done it yet. But anyway, maybe. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to talk about some cases. There's 5, I think. These are not by any stretch the only cases of things that is going wrong with all this with ICE right now. But I tried to I tried to pick 5 that were kind of on the spectrum of things that are going on. Like not all one way or the other. Completely innocent people or, really bad people, that kind of thing. I'm just trying to show a slice of humanity and what is happening in our country. And I think the majority of these are in Minneapolis just because I wanted to get things that were still, for the most part, fresh in all of our minds. I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details. I will some, and I'm going to try to tell both sides of the story, whether it be, ICE's version of what happened or the person or neighbors or witnesses or whatever. Now, on this first one that I'm gonna talk about, um, it's still under investigation. I could not get both sides, so I just chose to very quickly cover it. So, when you're like, "Well, she didn't tell both sides of that one," that's why, because I couldn't. I do have a picture. I'm gonna pop up as I read this off. So, it's nothing terrible. So this is the Jackson family. Okay, this is my case study number 1. It's a Minnesota family and the 6-month-old baby. This Go lay down. This case should honestly stop every one of us in our tracks. It should. I think that this one, more than any of them, rocked me, and the Renee Good one is number 2, but I thought I was rocked by that one, and I absolutely still am. But this one, it's a baby. But anyway, a Minnesota family, they were driving home. They had 6 kids in the car. They weren't protesting. They weren't resisting. They weren't involved in anything that was going on in any way, okay? And yet, during a federal enforcement action, tear gas and flashbang canisters were rolled under their vehicle. Those, erupted or blew up or whatever they do. I don't know a lot about that kind of thing. And it filled the car with gas and everything, as you can imagine. And 3 of the children were hospitalized, including the 6-month-old baby that's pictured. This baby stopped breathing. He was foaming at the mouth and stopped breathing, and his hysterical mother, they're only in their, like, late 20s. His hysterical mom had to give him CPR on the street. We can't. This can't. Why would they have done that? Because clearly they're not illegal. I hate that word, but they're not. I mean, it absolutely. I can't find any. I can't find the words, and I can't find any excuse. Case number 2 is Renee Nicole Good, a 37-year-old citizen living in Minneapolis, Minnesota. She was a mother of 3, a poet, a writer, described by loved ones as kind and generous, and the glue that held their family together. And again, I'm going to tell both sides because I want to be fair as much as I can and unbiased. Now, the official version, okay, is they have them listed. 1, Good was participating in a federal immigration enforcement operation as part of a larger deployment of ICE agents in Minneapolis. I think that was supposed to say it didn't on what I got it from, but I think it was that she was participating in a I think that it's trying to say that she was participating in a protest of a federal immigration enforcement operation because they're saying that she was protesting, which is not illegal. But so that one, it's a little weird, but because that's what I found everywhere I looked. So if that one's a little iffy, I'm sorry. Number 2, federal officials claim that Good's vehicle was stopped sideways in the street, blocking ICE agents who were conducting operations. Okay. Number 3, an ICE agent identified as Jonathan Ross approached the vehicle and ordered her to exit. So far, everything that I'm hearing is true, except that I did watched the video and other agents were telling her, to "Go, go, go," and he said, "That's it, get out of the vehicle." So I saw that on video, heard that on video. Number 4, DHS said that Good attempted to drive the vehicle forward, at which time the agent fired multiple shots. Number 5, the Department of Homeland Services, is that what it's called? Yeah. Narrative frames the shooting as self-defense, asserting that the agent was at risk of being struck by the vehicle. I thought that was weird because this is supposedly is their what they said, and then it says that it's I don't know, weird. I'm just saying, I don't want y'all to think that I did this. This is what I got. So, anyway, officials have said federal agents were responding to resistance from the community around enforcement activities, and Good's actions were part of that situation. Now, I got all of that. I just went ahead and listed it as Wikipedia. It was also in the New York Post. It was also in People Magazine, but I just took the top one. So but I did want you to know where I got it. Now, the family description said that Good's family, including her wife, say that she was not a threat and was attempting to avoid the enforcement operation when the shooting occurred. Her wife, Becca Good, has said that she and Renee were trying to pass through the area and were not involved in blocking anything intentionally. The family insists that she was complying with officers' commands and point to the video evidence they say shows Good beginning to drive away. Now, I have read several reports that say that both her and her wife were on a list. I don't know if in Minneapolis that you have to sign up to protest, but that they were on a list to protest ICE. I don't know if they were or not. I think it's a moot point because it's not illegal. So, anyway, it says that she did not deliberately charge at agents, and that was in people.com, the family's part. Now, eyewitness reports, which are citizens' videos and 911 call transcripts, reportedly show an ICE agent firing at Good's vehicle, including through the windshield and the side window of her SUV as she moved away. Witnesses have said that Good did not aggressively advance on the agent, and the shots were fired, at very close range. Additional civilian accounts suggest that it was chaotic and confusing at the scene leading up to the shooting, which that would make sense, with bystanders disputing the claim that she was a threat. This is still under investigation, but the refusal to work with local investigators or to release the um, body cam footage creates a lack of clarity and is a absolute major part of the ongoing controversy and the public outcry. And again, that was in People magazine. Why this matters. Use of deadly force against civilians, US citizens or not. Lack of federal enforcement and transparency. Local versus federal jurisdiction disputes, and just the public trust in law enforcement and its investigations, all of that is really having a hard time at this point. So, I wanted to show the first one was that this was a citizen family not doing not anything that should have put them in the crosshairs, basically, of ICE. This one, I don't know if she was protesting or not. She's, she's got the right to protest, and she's a US citizen who is dead. We're gonna talk about later whether or not she was breaking laws and stuff, but for right now, I just wanted to do that part. Okay, now this one, it's still kind of under investigation too, but I did get quite a bit of information about it, and this one is an actual, case that's, like, not so cut and dry, you know, you kinda gotta wonder a little. On both sides, really. So, number 3 and number 4 are both on here. You can see that number 4 says that we're gonna talk about ICE deaths in custody, the fact that 31 people died in ICE custody in 2025. But number 3 is Julio Cesar Sosa Celis, okay? And yes, that's him in the ambulance on the way to the hospital after he was shot by an ICE agent. I don't know that I would be smiling and happy right after. I don't know, maybe they gave him some good pain medicine, I don't know. But anyway, so Julio Cesar Sosa Celis is a Venezuelan man. He was shot in the leg by an ICE agent in North Minneapolis on January 14th of 2026. The official federal the official federal or ICE account says, number 1, the federal agents were conducting a targeted traffic stop in North Minneapolis for Sosa Celis. So they were looking for him, okay? Number 2, Sosa Celis allegedly fired or back up, fled in his vehicle, crashed into a parked car, and then ran on foot. Number 3, an officer caught up and a struggle ensued on the ground between the ICE agent and Sosa Celis. Number 4, 2 other men, also Venezuelan nationals, reportedly came out of a nearby apartment and attacked the agent with a snow shovel and a broom handle. Oof. Number 5, I'm just like, "Oh my god." Number 5, during that struggle, the ICE agent fired a defensive shot, hitting Sosa Celis in the leg. Number 6, the 3 men fled back into the apartment where they were later arrested by ICE officers. And number 7, the Department of Homeland Security, I said services a while ago, didn't I? It's security, and I know that. Department of Homeland Security says Sosa Celis had previous minor convictions for driving without a license and giving a false name. He had entered the US in 2022, and that is from the Department of Homeland Security. Yes. Thank you, babe. Now, the family and neighbor accounts, and I'm not gonna go through their whole accounts. I'm gonna go on just what was disputed, what they disputed of what ICE said. So, the family of Sosa Celis and local witnesses offer a different narrative. Number 1, they say the shooting took place at the front door of the home, not in the street during any kind of chase. Sounds like a kind of a big deal. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. 2, according to his mother, Sosa Celis told her that he was letting a housemate inside when the law enforcement approached, that he was not fleeing a violent crime. I don't know if they had said something about a violent crime. When this was all going on, it was not in the I read everything that I that I could find on it. So I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. Number 3, a Facebook Live video made during the accident shows people inside the apartment calling 911 saying that ICE was following him and that he was shot after closing the front door. I don't know. Did they shoot through the door? Was he on the outside of the door? I don't know. There's a lot that we just don't know. Number 4, neighbors also reported hearing gunshots shortly after a vehicle noise. Didn't say what kind of noise, but not seeing the attack with tools that DHS describes. So that's odd. And yes, Sosa Celis was hospitalized for a leg injury and was taken into ICE custody. All of that was from the Washington Post. And again, I'm not taking sides. I think both sides of this, that there's like some pretty serious discrepancies that I don't think it makes either side look innocent is what I'm saying. But anyway, but context does matter. This was not an isolated moment. It came during a very aggressive enforcement operation in the Twin Cities known as Operation Metro Surge. And, that has led to many arrests, community unrest, and a lot of legal challenges. I also did find a report after I wrote this up that said that they had stopped his son earlier in the day thinking that it was him, and that, he, I guess, showed that he wasn't him. And I don't know if they didn't arrest him, so I don't know what the deal is. But yeah, so then they went looking for the dad. But context is important because family members and attorneys have publicly disagreed with the federal accounts. And there has again yet to be any body cam footage released that would absolutely resolve the discrepancies and go so far into calming the citizens. I think, calming the neighbors. If they could come up and say, "Here's the body cam. This is what happened." Then I think that would, ease things a lot, ease tensions. But the fact that they won't do it, I don't understand that. I know that here in Oklahoma, when there's any kind of an altercation, the police body cam gets released pretty quickly. And I don't know. It just makes it all, you know, sus. A little bit sus. So, and why this matters is that the federal version makes it look like a violent confrontation happened, which justified in the use of force. But family and neighbors version is that this unarmed man was shot at his home and that it's all unclear circumstances. And so I kind of get it. I kind of get their concerns. But these conflicting accounts, they just keep raising serious questions about the use of force, transparency with ICE, civilian safety, and just oversight of enforcement actions. I've never seen such lack of I can't think of the word I was gonna say, like, working together, basically. I mean, usually your federal and your local, your state, whatever, they will kind of work together. I mean, and even if, the higher you go, that's who's more in charge or whatever. But this is just there's no cooperation. That's the word I was trying to find. There's no cooperation. The local people are pissed, the officials, because they're being completely shut out. This is happening in their towns and they are completely shut out. So while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the 31 people that died in, I'm not going to talk about all of them, I promise, in ICE custody last year. That is not even the total, okay? That is what happened within a few days of each other. And so that's what makes it even more troubling. I have yet to find an absolute total of how many people died in ICE custody last year. So, the official explanations cite that it was either suicide or some sort of medical emergencies. But the detainee witnesses describe it as ICE agents restraining detainees, putting, like, physical pressure on them, holding them down, choking them, pinning people against walls or on the floor, different places, and it's men, women, children. We've had babies die in ICE custody in 2025. That should not happen. Even if the parents or whatever, even if they're breaking some kind of a law, there should be no situation where a child should be injured or neglected or whatever the case may be to the point that they die. I So here's a part that I think that should, again, oh, my nose, alarm everyone. Witnesses to the detainees' deaths were immediately put on the fast track to deportation. So, like, as soon as they spoke out and said, "No, this is what happened," boom, they were deported. And it raises a terrifying question of, if you see something and you report it, see something, say something, right? We tell our kids that. You see something, say something. But if you're in custody and you see something and you say something, are you safe? I don't know how many of those people were. We can't get any information. I don't know how many of them were quote unquote illegals and how many weren't, because we know from other investigations that we've done into this that people that are actual citizens have been deported to places that they either have not been to for 20 years or never. I We need some oversight, y'all. We need some oversight. Now, this one really bothered me too. I did leave a G out that I see now. His name is Chongley. There's an NG. Chongley goes by Scott Theo. Okay. It's a wrongful detention, and it's including US citizens, which I was just talking about. This is where a lot of people kind of stop listening because they're like, yeah, sure, that's not happening. But it is. So please just stick with me on this. In Minnesota, a naturalized US citizen was dragged from his home. He's not a young man. He actually looks better in this picture than he did on all the reports that I saw. I don't know if that picture is, longer ago, but he was drugged from his home without a warrant in freezing temperatures. He was wearing only his boxer shorts, and he put on some flip-flops that they let him put on. They let him put a blanket over his shoulders. He was handcuffed, he was humiliated, and he was wrongly detained. He's a US citizen. His 4-year-old grandchild was there and witnessed it. And you can imagine a 4-year-old watching grandpa being drug out by these big, mean people. We teach our children to respect and trust police. And they did this. So let me ask, if this can happen to a citizen, if a citizen can be drug out of his home, he was kept for several hours before he was finally released. What are the safeguards that's actually in place to prevent that? They went to his home. They did not have a warrant, and they drug him out in his underwear. Who's next? I mean, rights don't disappear because somebody has an accent or they have a wrong last name. So the core question still is, does the punishment fit the crime? Especially, I guess, when there's not even a crime. Is tear gassing children proportional? Does it equal, is lethal force proportional to immigration violations? Is death in custody an acceptable risk of civil enforcement? Is stripping dignity a necessary tool? Is being shot dead acceptable for, at worst, a misdemeanor? If any crime, but at worst, a misdemeanor. This isn't about opening borders. I don't really think that anybody really truly wants that. I know that this country was built on immigration, and I believe that it should still be about immigration, but I do also want to have safeguards and try to keep, some people out that are dangerous, and I think that, we can have both, is what I think. I I can support immigration enforcement without supporting brutality. I can support law and order without supporting cruelty. And I can believe in immigration laws without excusing harm to innocent people. Human rights are not conditional. It's not it's not human rights except for brown people, or human rights unless you got the wrong last name, or human rights unless you're gay, or human rights unless you're a protester. No. Where does this end? History teaches us, y'all. It teaches us something important, that when abuse becomes normalized for any one group, it never stays with that one group. It never stays there. Today, it's undocumented people or asylum seekers. Then it's naturalized citizens, protesters, witnesses, bystanders, children in cars. The slope doesn't announce itself. It just keeps sliding. And if we are uncomfortable with this situation, I'm glad. I want us all to be uncomfortable with it. We have to care about our borders and laws and still care about babies and loss of life. We can demand accountability and not need to dehumanize anyone. On this channel, we believe that we're better together and that nobody is just disposable. I want to share a couple other slides. These are lists of some common misdemeanor crimes. And I want us to read over this list. And I want us to be honest with ourselves. I don't, you don't have to fess up, you know, but I want you to read over these lists and I want you to think about yourself or somebody that you know or love. And have they ever committed any of these misdemeanor crimes, whether they got caught or not? Renee Good was accused of protesting, which is not a crime. And everything else that she has been accused of that we don't know yet if it's true. We just know that she's been accused of things. But everything she's been accused of are misdemeanors. Even the guy that was shot in the leg, it was misdemeanor crimes at worst. I don't want to get preachy, but God says that sin is sin, that they are all the same. And the law says that misdemeanors are misdemeanors. And no misdemeanor crime is punishable by death, not in this country. So I want you to think about it. And if somebody, either yourself or somebody that you love, committed one of these crimes that I'm going to show you, do you or they deserve to be shot in the face? Not in a country where our forefathers created our Constitution. So I'm going to show you those, and then I'll have one more slide after that. So, and this is just common misdemeanors: disorderly conduct, sorry, public intoxication, loitering, disturbing the peace, trespassing, creating a public nuisance, petty theft, shoplifting under a certain dollar limit, theft of services, skipping out on a bill, vandalism, minor property damage, criminal mischief, low cost damage, possession of stolen property with a low value, alcohol or drug related, possession of marijuana, a small amount where it's still illegal, possession of drug paraphernalia, underage drinking, open container violations, public consumption of alcohol, driving with a suspended license, reckless driving without an injury, but reckless driving, DUI or DWI, first offense, no injury, hit and run of property with, property damage only, simple assault, no weapon, minor or no injuries, simple battery, that can be like the fun run chalk that Aaron threw on the Sea Org guy. That would be a simple battery. Harassment, stalking, early or low level, not crazy, threatening behavior, domestic assault at the misdemeanor level, and of course that can go higher. Violation of a protective order, it is sometimes a misdemeanor. Child endangerment, non-injury situations, unlawful carrying of a weapon, improper firearm storage, brandishing without injury, failure to appear in court, providing false information to a police officer, obstruction in a nonviolent way, resisting arrest without violence. Now, the obstruction is something that they're saying that she did by having her vehicle in the middle of the road. Now, why her vehicle's in the middle of the road, we don't know because they won't release the dash cam. I do know that she waved an ICE agent on and he went on, and then these didn't. So if she did, if she's guilty of obstruction, the typical misdemeanor penalties: fines, probation, community service, mandatory classes if it's like a anger management or they need to go to DUI school. Did anybody see shot in the face? We heard at first that she was shot in the face 3 times. Apparently, she was shot in the face once, in the chest twice, and in the arm once. She was shot 4 times. I don't see any of that. I also don't see anywhere on there that if what was it that said resisting arrest would have been what, that Sosa Celius was doing. I don't see it on there that he should be shot in the leg either. But I want you to think about it. I'm not for crime at all. I'm for being punished for crimes. But does the punishment fit the crime? If this was you or someone you love or a neighbor that committed any of those crimes, now there's others, but that was, the most common committed misdemeanors is what that list was. If they committed any of those, if they committed any of the crimes that we have talked about, did they deserve to be shot in the face or anywhere? I have one other thing that I wanted to show you, because I kept saying, "Where does this end?" I'm not gonna try to pronounce this guy's name because if Ben is here, he knows that I will absolutely butcher it, but a German pastor, anti-Nazi dissident. I'm gonna take this off so that I can see it all. First, they came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Damn, I wish I could just talk sometimes. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. I know we've heard that. Most of us have heard that or some variation of that. The same man said it in several different ways, slightly different ways in several different contexts, but it all has the same meaning. Where does it end? We might be safe today, but someday we won't be. I'm not trying to get anybody to like an uprising. That's not what I want. I want for us to get a hold of all of our like representatives and demand that they do something. We've got midterm elections coming up, and then we've got a presidential election that will be here in like 3 years. But something's gotta change. And and I could argue a whole lot of politics right now, but I don't even see this as political. I really just see this as disgusting and demoralizing and inhumane. This is a human rights issue, and human rights don't know a party. They don't know a nationality. Should just all have basic human rights. So that's all I've got. I am going to check with my um, starred comments, and I really do appreciate you guys staying with me. I know this isn't an easy one. It's certainly not easy for me either. So Marilee says 100% agree. Immigration laws are supposed to keep out the bad people. That's true. And I know that they don't know immediately, but there's got to be a better way. There just has to be. Oracle says, I think the major thing is about accountability. If you do the wrong thing, they should be investigated and held to account if they do something illegal. Saying they won't investigate anything, they do. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. Marilee says, that's why I'm so concerned about my sister in California. She's a green card holder and retired. Her friends convinced her to stop protesting for her own safety. I'm kind of with her friends, and I am very much in agreement with protesting. I think that that is a right that we have, and I think that it can do a lot of good. But right now, it's also very, very scary. Yeah, breaking into homes, SA, assaults in custody, and shipping out witnesses, lots of other violations. I know, right? The shipping out witnesses, that one just there's no way that that's right. They are untrained, hyped up, armed people put in a scary situation they are not equipped to cope with or trained in de-escalation. They are recruiting thugs and proud boys, etc. Yeah, it is. And a lot of them, they are saying that they are ex-military, but there's really no training process for it, and we know, and not all of our ex-military, but a lot of our ex-military have got horrible PTSD. You know, I saw a guy that is ex-military, and that he's witnessed some of this that's going on, and he was talking about that they were trained to treat the enemy with more care and dignity than what our own citizens are being treated like. And even if they are undocumented, that doesn't mean they're the enemy. It means they're undocumented, which is actually a misdemeanor. It's being undocumented does not warrant being killed. Sorry. B says there is 100% no reason that Ms. Good was point blank assassinated. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, Marilee says, "And John, it doesn't include the people who are missing." Probably that's a continuation of something, so oops. Indigo says, "I have not gone to protest since last summer because I don't feel safe. Even when our governor and mayor stand up against ICE, it makes us more of a target." I kinda think so too. I really do, and what really gets me is that they were taught, and I don't know the numbers, and I'm not even gonna try, I'll get it wrong. But they were talking about, like, that in Minneapolis, the number of actual undocumented people, and they told what it was, which was, like, not much. And then but they were saying that in red states like Texas and stuff, that the numbers are huge, but they're doing these operations in states that really don't have that bad of an undocumented immigration problem. So, it's kinda hard not to get political about it, even when you don't want to. John says, "I have literally watched hundreds of hours of police body cam videos on YouTube in the last couple years, and for the most part, those officers should be commended for their restraint." Absolutely. I agree. I see a lot of body cam videos. We've had some situations here in Oklahoma where an officer has had had to, kill someone. And, oh, it's been crazy. I'll have to talk about it sometime. But, I mean, it really has gotten completely out of hand. But everything that it shows that the officer did everything they could to avoid that situation, and yet, that's not what people wanna hear. So I agree with John. I think that in a lot of cases, I'm gonna probably tend to side with the police because that's what I've seen so often. But that's when they automatically release those body cams or as soon as they possibly can, but in this situation, they're not. They could clear up so much of the unrest that's going on by just showing. If that's what happened, show what happened. Think of we wouldn't be doing a video right now. We might be doing a video that said, "This is horrible," but maybe not. Because maybe this would be stopping and it wouldn't be continuing to grow and grow and grow. John says de-escalation training saves lives, period. Absolutely. And Carnus Soul says there are no safeguards. The law is being ignored. Yeah. Oracle says they pulled him out of the car down the road to take photos in the freezing weather. I saw that too. Yeah, they literally the man that they drug out of his home in his underwear, they took him down the road, drug him back out of the car, took a bunch of pictures, and then put him back in the car and went on. They, like, mocked him and humiliated him. I mean, I didn't go into all the details because we would be here for 3 days. But y'all go look it up. It is it's dehumanizing. It's just it's it's awful. I mean, Janet from Another Planet says, and that Christy Noam says that it's the worst of the worst. Yeah, I think she's the worst of the worst. Marilee says, but right now, if you demand accountability, you put yourself and your family at risk. Absolutely. Janet says, "I sure don't think that she was a domestic terrorist." I don't either. I mean, honestly, she was smiling. She said, "Dude, I'm not mad at you." You know, that was what she said last. "Dude, I'm not mad at you." I mean, her wife, they're reporting now that her wife was yelling, "Drive, drive, drive." But I think that it was probably fear. Like, "Get out of here." This is I can kinda see that happening if it was me and Mark, and he's kinda sitting there, and they're like, "Go, stop, go, get out of here, get out of the vehicle." I'd be like, "Go, go." And so I'm not gonna necessarily think that because the wife said, "Go, go, go," or "Drive, drive," or whatever it was, that she was, like, doing anything wrong. The people that were there said it was chaotic. I think when there's chaos, there's a problem. When the police are doing some kind of an operation, and there's that many of them, because there's, like, tons of them, there should not be chaos. They should be able to very calmly control that kind of a situation. I mean, I know they can't control every situation, I'm not being a Pollyanna about it, but I'm just saying, this escalated afterwards. Aw, hello to you too, rocking it out for life. Yeah, yeah, John says they're being flown to a country that they've never been to before. Where is the humanity in that? Sending kids who are fighting cancer and deporting them to a country they've never been to. Janet says, "How normal is it for someone to have a cell phone in one hand and a gun in the other, and then they shoot someone?" Yeah, I don't get it either. He actually had the cell phone in his right hand, switched it to his left hand so that he could fire the gun. If he had time to do that, he had time to take a step back, which is what they are trained police officers are trained to do, that you don't move towards a moving vehicle, you move away from it. Now, her wife says that whenever she took off, it was after she was already shot, that her foot must have hit the accelerator, which I think we can all understand. Marilee says, "I think this has a lot less to do with politics and more to do with money." I do too. I haven't really figured it all out. I think it has I think it's very multi-tiered. I think that there's some racism. I think that that ICE officer hated her because she was a lesbian, and her wife had been mouthing them, which is also not against the law. Is it smart? No, it's not smart. Is it against the law? No, it's not. Would I do it? I hope not, but maybe. I have kind of mouthed the cop before. Yeah, yeah, I get it. The wife said, "Drive, baby, drive." To me, it was her saying that she wasn't getting into the car. Yeah, I keep there's some reports that says she was in there. I don't think she was. I don't know. I think that she was by the car. I don't think she was. The pictures that I saw, I didn't see anybody else in there. But there's so many stories that, again, release the damn body cams, and then we would know. They can blur it out when she actually gets shot, th but show. It would go so far to just bring temperatures down. Janet says, and then he said the effing bitch. Yeah. And I am just going to say that I think any woman who's ever been abused or, whatever, and been called a fucking bitch in the tone. It wasn't like he was like, "Oh, shit," like I fucked up. It wasn't like that. He was mad at her. It was her fault in his eyes. And I think that any of us that have been abused, we recognize that tone. And I pray that she was already dead and didn't hear it. And anyway, well, guys, I'm going to go. We've been a little over an hour. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being so involved in the chat. That really does. It means a lot to me when my chat is involved. We have a show tomorrow, and I promise it's going to be a whole lot lighter. So I will be here at 6:30 Central tomorrow, and yeah, we're going to talk about OCD. Yeah, obsessive compulsive disorder. No politics, no murders, none of that. Nope, no cults. We're just going to talk about OCD. It's an important conversation, I think, but a lot lighter than what we've had. And then next week, I told my mods, I said, next week, I'm going to swear off anything that's tough. We're going to have some fun next week, unless something just can't be ignored. So anyway, thank you. Thank you, Janet. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you tomorrow.
Hope you enjoyed the show, so glad you were here. We meet here most days, we're but first coffee and you're welcome here. We talk about hard subjects, but we also laugh a lot. If you have a loss or win, we will cheer for you. We're but first coffee, and you are safe here. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't want to miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't want to miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all.